Well, I don't know about that. I mean, all this talk about teams lying down and all that stuff. After getting my car's MOT, I had to lie down. I nearly fell down. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's a great Thursday so far.
There is nothing worse than car trouble. We were just talking about that off air. It's brutal.
Oh, the wheels are right off the wagon. My wagon.
Celtic's Honda Civic and all that. I'm sure we'll fit in a few puns. We first of all, comments coming in. Green Machine says Keith back from his booze cruise. He's not back quite yet. And just to clear the air, it was actually an over 70s cruise. So if you can keep that right, Green Machine, that'd be great. I think we'll be back Sunday though, which is great because it's going to be an absolute cracker. We're going to talk about all the weekend's games, including, as you mentioned, Mick, lie down gate, which seems to be bubbling up between Hibs and Celtic. We'll obviously talk Hearts and Rangers as well as all the other games. But I wanted to start. Mick, you and I talked the other night about Danny Rohl potentially being under a bit of pressure, maybe to even keep his job this summer if he doesn't win the league, if he finishes third perhaps. Listening to the Record Rangers podcast today, Scott, you and Andy kind of had another take on it.
Oh, it was Andy that kind of raised the question. I think Andy's been reading too much social media, Daniel, to be honest with you. But I was just raising the question about whether there's any doubts at all about Danny Rohl's kind of position if they don't go and win this title. But I think I said to you the other night, for me, there's no doubt whatsoever Danny Rohl will be the manager of Rangers come start the next season. I think, of course, any Old Firm manager, when they don't win a league, I think the following campaign they'll be under a bit of pressure to get off to a flying start. I've said that I think it probably help Danny Rohl slightly if he finishes this season strongly, even if they do finish second in the league, and it's a kind of tight finish. I think punters will still kind of get behind them properly, get behind them at the start of next season. If they finish third and they kind of, this title kind of challenge goes out with a whimper, then I think it does add a wee bit more pressure getting into next year. But he'll definitely be manager. I mean, I don't see. I think Andrew Kavanagh, the board, the backing that he had in January, I think they're pleased with Danny Rohl. He's a young up and coming coach. I think he's shown he's got a bit about him. There's plenty still to prove, but I think Rangers are happy with him, happy with the signings, happy the way it's going. Delighted at how they've clawed their way back into a title race when it looked as if all was lost, obviously, when they came in October. So he'll definitely be here starting next season. I think he'll benefit from getting a pre-season with the players. Hopefully for Rangers' sake, some new guys coming in, some going out the door. But of course, when an Old Firm manager doesn't win a league, he's always going to be get a bit of scrutiny. And I think if he finishes third, that's not a good look for a Rangers or Celtic manager finishing outside the top two, irrespective of the circumstances. So is he under pressure? Of course he is. Until Rangers go and win something under Danny Rohl, that will always be there, and that's why I've said it's an absolute must that they fly out the traps at the start of next season. There can be no excuses this time. No bad starts. No Copeland stands getting shut and stuff like that to start the season poorly, as has happened the last few years. He's got to go off to a flyer next year and be competing right away. I said that to Andy today. It feels like for 3, 4, 5 years, Rangers have constantly been playing catch up, constantly trying to claw back deficits in the league just to get into a title race. They need to be there for the off to give themselves a chance. So, listen, Danny Rohl will have felt a bit of heat already in the Rangers job. He's 3 games against Martin O'Neill, not been able to beat him, for instance. That will be something that's going to, it might not stop this season, but he'll want to get that kind of monkey off his back if he can. But he'll feel real pressure, I think, at the start of next season if they don't go off to a good start.
We've got comments coming in on this already. One of them, McKenna there, says someone has to end up third. Whoever it is going to be disappointed. And CGF, though, says, why would the board want to back a manager who's proven he can't deliver? He's been in competition with a poor Celtic side, and he could finish third. He's got to go, in my opinion.
He only came in October.
I know.
I know he says he's not delivered yet. I mean, look, there's been some disappointments. Obviously, the Celtic Cup tie, for instance, off the top of my head at Ibrox, there'll be real regret over that. Get out in penalties. A game Rangers really should have won. The better side on the day. So of course, there's been some disappointments. But when he took over, I keep saying it, 13 points behind, 6th in the league. Place was at an all-time low. Russell Martin getting security to get out of Falkirk to avoid a baying mob. I mean, the morale at the club was pretty low at that point. So to get them to here, and I'm not overplaying it because Rangers should always be challenging for titles. That's really should be. But to get to this point for where they were, 4 games to go, still with an outside chance of winning it. He's done a decent job. Danny Rohl is going to get harder. He's going to need to prove a lot more at the start of next season. But I definitely think the club and the American owners are happy with the progress he's made and will back him again in the summer in the hope of getting real success.
Where I was coming from the other night, the other night, Mick, was, he's obviously spent a lot of money. People say around 40 million, whether that's right or not. He wasn't necessarily the owner's first choice. And if he finishes, say, third, they were quite ruthless with Thelwell and Patrick Stewart. I just wonder if they might go, do you know what? Maybe there's a guy out there we want. I don't know.
Listen, but Danny Rohl didn't spend the 40 million quid, remember?
No. I mean, of course. Good point.
He spent more than 10 in January. I just think that if Rangers don't go on and win the title this season, they'll feel it as a massive opportunity missed. And I know they had a bad start with the 6 draws and a defeat in the first 8 games that made them put behind the 8 ball right from the start and changing manager. But I just think the way this season's gone, I mean, if Celtic can lose 8 games and win a title, there was nothing but regret. I mean, Hearts come in there and win a title with potentially 77, 78 points. And nothing but regret. I mean, the door was open for Rangers this season. And for whatever reason, not just on Danny Rohl, they haven't taken it. I do think they got to January, and I think the American owners might have thought, you know what, this is an opportunity now. For some bizarre reason, but the season that looked as though it was written off in October is all of a sudden game on now, because he had a great run before Christmas, Danny Rohl, and he got himself in a position. And I think from that position, if he don't deliver the league, it's an opportunity missed.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and they will, when you especially now the potentially direct entry into Champions League, if they don't go on and clinch this, it will be seen as a bit of an own goal, really. I mean, Celtic will. I mean, you never know, but you can't imagine Celtic being this week again at any point in time. I think Hearts are going to be interesting because they are only very early in the kind of Tony Bloom revolution. I think this is way ahead of schedule, so you think they're going to stick about, but it's going to be hard for them because their model is going to be bring in players, play them, sell them, do it again. It's hard to kind of maintain success at a high level with that model because the whole point is getting good players and selling them and then replacing them. You're not looking to get the same guys.
Aye.
I just think the door was open for Rangers this season from January, and if they don't go through it, I don't think he's going to get his jotters for that. I think Scotty's bang on. He does deserve a pre-season, his own transfer kitty, and to go and see what he can build. But it does put him up against it next season because we've seen it before. Rangers managers before have came close. We saw it with Clement, saw it with Beale, saw it with Van Bronckhorst, coming close in title races, but not getting over the line, stumbling towards the end, and it puts him under severe P starting the season. Michael Beale, the binned after 7 games. His win percentage is higher than any of these guys, by the way, in his period in terms of domestically. I think he's about 75-80%. I think it is way higher than Danny Rohl, way higher than anybody else, Van Bronckhorst or Clement. And he get bagged after 7 games. I think thumped by Rangers and Celtic and dropping points. So he is going to be up against it starting next season if they don't deliver this season. But there's a long way left this season. I still think there's a good chance to win this year.
Nice. I agree.
I agree with you on the bit of regret, Matt, because you're right. I mean, me and Andy touched on this the day. I mean, to lose the league to this Celtic team, no, with all due respect, lost eight league games, changed the manager 3 times. I mean, turmoil, between the fans and the board pretty much for the entire campaign. From a Rangers supporters' point of view, I think this will be as sore a league loss as any. No league loss, even going back to banter years with Graham Murray and Cashinha and people like that. I mean, this, to lose it to Celtic, listen, losing it to Hearts would obviously be a blow to them as well, but it will then be kind of seen as this kind of anomaly, a one-off. Hearts were brilliant. Russell Martin, disaster at the start, all of that going into it. I think looking at the Rangers fans, when they look at the whole campaign, if they get to the end of it and this Celtic team have won a double against them, I think there will be real regret. And I suppose that's where you can, maybe critical is not the right word, but I suppose that's where you can kind of scrutinise Danny Rohl in the sense that it's okay me saying 13 points behind. Ultimately, he did brilliantly to get them back, challenging again and competing in the title race. But once they're there, they need to go and try and get the job done. They need to go and try and get over the line. And certainly judging by Sunday's performance, first post-split game, home to Motherwell, you're expected to go and win. They kind of fail at the first hurdle. And that's nothing to do with Russell Martin or nothing to do with what's happened previously this season. That's on Danny Rohl and this set of players. So if they don't do it, of course there'll be question marks. I think it'll be worse if Celtic go and win it, certainly for the supporters. But Mick's right, it puts them, whatever happens if they lose it, it certainly puts them under pressure at the start of next season. But he'll know that anyway. That'll not be news to him.
Yeah.
One of the
flip side is if he can get through this and get that title, it turbocharges the Rangers project. I mean, if you go straight in the Champions League and get 40 million quid in the skyrocket, that completely changes the landscape of Scottish football for the next 2 or 3 years. Yep. I mean, that kind of injection changes it, flips the narrative in the whole of Scotland. That puts Celtic up against it for their rebuild. It makes it harder for Hearts. I just think that if Rangers have been waiting for years, I mean, in recent times, Celtic win titles with 95, 99, 100 points and all that stuff. And you think they're waiting for Celtic to dip slightly to give them a shot. Celtic have dipped substantially. I mean, they're going to be fine season with less than 80 points. That's an open door. To not be able to go through it would be a regret. But I say there's a lot of stuff that can happen the next few weeks. I still think this is a live issue. Aye. So it could end up with a trophy and the Champions League entry as well, and it's a whole new ballgame.
We've got comments coming in, as I say, and a few of them I should throw your way. Let me have a look. David Bradley says, Scott, I'm telling you, the Rangers fans will go mental if Celtic win the double, especially the money's been given. He will have failed. Rab says, if Hearts or Rangers don't win this league after the bad Celtic have been, the amount of injuries to key players all season is a massive failure. P45 issued. McKinnon says Hearts recruitment will be better than the Old Firm next season, even with their extra millions. Singing the Blues says, with the money spent and the position we're in, we should be at the top. Anybody would be an improvement on Russell Martin. And this one from George, he says he's heard that the Proclaimers are playing centre-half for Hibs on Sunday with Dougray Scott up front. We'll maybe come to the Hibs Celtic in a wee minute. But if Rangers are to win the league, Scott, they need to win, I'd suggest, at Tynecastle. Or maybe don't need to win, I guess. But it'd be a good start.
Daniel. For me, I mean, I think Rangers are. I'm kind of less optimistic than Mick. I think about Rangers' chances. I think that Motherwell defeat was so damaging. Even just losing the game, I actually don't think a point would have been the worst result for them if they just got a 2 each. No, it keeps you 3 points behind Hearts. You're going to Tynecastle, you've got a better goal difference. I think it's a really damaging defeat. No, they're up against it. I think they've got a mountain to climb now to try and win it. I think they need to win at Tynecastle and probably win at Celtic Park back to back, which is tough in any circumstances. So, no, I think a draw. I don't think would be a bad result for Hearts on Monday, but a draw for Rangers would pretty much kill them off for me. I think Rangers need to go and win after that Motherwell defeat. Anything less than that, and it's curtains, I think.
What do you think, Mike? You think they could still get a point and maybe still be in it?
To be honest,
elsewhere, I guess.
I think they're then relying on Hearts dropping points in 2 games, aren't they? And I don't think Hearts will drop points against Falkirk, which puts them within a point of doing it. And if they go into the last game needing a point, Derek McInnes needing a point at Parkhead to win the league, and Celtic potentially denying Rangers the title by not winning the game. I think we're
This line Dungate too.
we're back to the line down gate as well. Another line down. There's more lines here than the Serengeti. I just think Rangers need to win that game because I think the points that if Hearts come out with a point, right, if Hearts win the game, I think that it leaves Rangers needing snookers. So it's the title could be soft this weekend. By the way, I mean Celtic don't win it at Easter Road and Hearts win on Monday night. You might as well wrap it up and get the double decker bus out for Gorgie.
Yeah,
that's where we are at this stage now. So it's a strange one because I wouldn't be surprised if Rangers went there and got a result at Tynecastle. Again, with Scott, you'll know better than me, right? I always get a sense with Rangers that when the chips are down and expectations are low, Rangers look like Barcelona 2012 or Brazil 1970. And you see it in game when they go 2-0 down. It's almost like, well, we're gubbed. We might as well take the shackles off and go and play. And it's happened for the last. By the way, it's happened for a few teams over the years. It's almost like when the expectations are gone, the handbrake's off, and they look like a team. But as soon as the expectation gets switched back on again, and last weekend was a great example. They're 2-0 down and start knocking it about. Get back to 2 each, and then it's the expectations back again, and it collapsed again. So I think there's probably, I mean, do people expecting them to go to Tynecastle and win? I think hoping rather than expecting. So weirdly, I mean, thing is, I could see if Rangers don't get a result at Tynecastle, I can then see them going to Parkhead and winning because at that point it's almost up the lum time for Rangers in terms of the league, and the pressure would be off, and I think they would go and turn up and could potentially beat Celtic. Whereas if they go and beat Hearts, I think they potentially would go and lose at Parkhead because of the expectations. So this is what we're at with this situation here. There's so many. It's like a Jenga puzzle, isn't it?
You're right. They're that kind of team. No, I've got a bit of Jekyll and Hyde about them. I says to Daniel on here the other night, and it's the reason why it wouldn't surprise me if they go to Tynecastle and get a result. Is normally again with this Rangers team, when they do suffer a setback, like you say, and people then think, "Oh, they're out here, no, a terrible result." They normally then bounce back and get 2 or 3 wins after that. It was like when they were 2-0 up against Celtic in the league game at Ibrox. Suddenly everybody thought, wow, no, Shamiti's overhead kick. No, this is it. Rangers are going to be champions. They get pegged back to 2 each. Rangers fans were on a downer at that point. It was all over. And you genuinely thought that would be a huge dent to the title chances. But they then came back and got themselves back in it again by winning a few again. And then, as you say, as soon as there was a bit of expectation to go and take care of Motherwell, no, they didn't turn up for 45 minutes and end up getting beat. So they're still too flaky. But for that reason, you're right. It wouldn't totally surprise me if they go to Hearts and get a result. I said on here the other night when I was at the Tynecastle game the last time they went there, and for the first 35 minutes, I thought Rangers were excellent. No problem. And then Jack Butland made a couple of big mistakes. It cost them goals, and it was too hard. It was too hard to peg Hearts back. But if Rangers had got that goal, it was disallowed early on, which was a really tight offside goal. It could have been a different outcome. So, listen, it'll be tough for them. The atmosphere on Monday will be incredible at Tynecastle. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be raucous. So it's a tough ask. Hearts have got a really good bit of momentum, especially coming off the Derby win. But as Mick says, this Rangers team can be so up and down. It wouldn't totally surprise you if they go there and win.
Mentioning Hibs v Celtic, then Mick, we'll move on to that. In his Record Sport column today, Tam McManus has been talking about this. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he says the Hibs punter inside him would want to see Hibs lie down, give Celtic the win, and deny Hearts the title. See, to be honest, I can understand perfectly where he's coming from.
I don't know if he used the phrase they want them to lie down. I think he said he wouldn't be upset if they lost the game.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
I don't think that's the same as he hopes they lie down.
I blame his ghostwriter, Mick.
From what I hear, his ghostwriters are, I mean, a fly-by-night job. I mean, absolutely terrible. Shoddy guy. Absolute chancer.
I mean, although if you're a Hibs man, I imagine every Hibs man in the land, would they take losing 2 or 3-0 to Celtic if it means Hearts don't win the title?
Well, this is where we are right now. I said that the other night in the show, that you're now at a situation where Hearts fans are cheering on Hibs. You get Hibs fans who be cheering on Celtic during the game against Celtic. You get Celtic fans cheering on Rangers against Hearts. This is where we're getting to now. It's very on bonkers. Listen, I think it's an awkward one for Hibs fans. It really is. I mean, they go and win the game. They're probably giving their big rivals a leg up in terms of the title race. There's no getting away from that. In terms of the players and the manager at Hibs, they won't be thinking like that. I guarantee they won't be thinking like that. There's pride at stage, a professional pride. There's positions in the league. There's Europe. There's win bonuses, by the way, which is professional athletes, which they get for winning games. So I think Hibs will be competitive and have a go. Of course, Celtic problems. I don't think they'll be, in inverted commas, lying down for anyone. I wouldn't be surprised if Hibs get a result against Celtic. They're giving them nothing but trouble all season.
Neither would I agree.
And Celtic are also very flaky, and they're kind of getting by on individual moments, but they're not particularly putting together cohesive football matches. So that game is another one that's going to be in the balance. They can go either way. So I wouldn't be surprised having all this talk about lying down, the Hibs go and get 3 points and throw an absolute spanner in the works.
I think it would be so like this Celtic team, kind of lead the fans up the garden path a wee bit. Oh, everything's back to normal, mate. Maeda's back. We're finally in a run. We're going to do the double for them then to go and lose at Easter Road. I don't know what you think, Scott, but I could see that happening definitely.
I can't see it. I think Celtic will go there and win. You mentioned Maeda. I think he'll be crucial. Seems to just be coming into a bit of form, obviously at the right time. Well, I say this. I've said this a few times on here, Daniel. I mean, I do get it in terms of the Hibs fans, because Hibs fans must go through their lives thinking, no, Hearts will never win a league. I mean, if you're a middle-aged kind of Hibs fan, a young Hibs fan, they must just think, they must never even contemplate Hearts winning a league title. And we think of that rivalry. I mean, if Hearts win this, for a Hibs supporter, it's absolutely horrendous. I mean, horrendous. Because you're never going to hear the end. I mean, you're never going to hear the end of this.
It's Hibs' 150th anniversary as well, which just rubs salt in the too.
And listen, I mean, in my lifetime, Hibs have obviously lost to Hearts 5-1 in the Scottish Cup final. You think that's the lowest it can get? No, that's the worst. That's the worst you can ever feel. No, this will be worse. I mean, if Hearts go and win the title, so purely from a fan's point of view, I get it. It must be really difficult, and you must be going to the game. I think you always turn up at a game, want your team to win. Or I do find it hard to accept once you're there as a supporter. No, actively want your team to lose. I mean, I get it. This is a bizarre season, bizarre situation we're in. But as Mick says, see for players and the manager, ultra professional. I don't think they can approach it any other way than trying to win a big game. No, they've got a European place to fight for. They've got Motherwell breathing down their necks, trying to get fourth. And ultimately, and people might disagree with this, but I think I'm right in saying Hearts winning the league won't affect Hibs players anywhere near as much as it'll affect supporters.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, there's probably a couple of Hibs fans in that dressing room, guys like Josh Campbell and that, but they'll not be affected as much. No, by Hearts. It's not as big a disaster Hearts winning the league, even though they're their rivals, than it is for supporters, because it's the supporters that have got to go to their work every day and take absolute dog's abuse for their Jambo pals for years to come if this happens. You know what I mean? So it's a tricky situation for the Hibs supporters, but I don't think for the Hibs players. And I feel for Tam a wee bit, because I think I get the point he's trying to make, but I think his ghostwriter's done him in, basically.
What I would say, Dan, is that we're talking Celtic being a bit flaky, right? But the reality is, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Celtic dropped points at Hibs, but the reality is they haven't actually dropped that many points under Martin O'Neill since he came back the second time.
Yep.
And they've had 2 draws and 2 defeats across that whole period since he came back in January. I mean, the draw, he lost to Hibs with 10 men, drew with Hearts, which at Tynecastle was a good result, and then drew with Rangers at Ibrox, and then lost the one game that stands out is Dundee United away when they had an absolute stinker. But apart from that, they've always found a way. I mean, by the way, it's not been pretty, and sometimes it's been late. But likewise, it's a bit like Hearts have been a bit the same. It's like they've been getting the job done. So, I mean, I know we're saying they're flaky and they're not been great. And that's true, but the results, they've won 4 in the bounce since that Tannadice horror show. So they have got a bit ahead of steam, and they have managed to grind out results. And a bit like we're talking about the Rangers and expectation, maybe Celtic at some point thought this is not going to happen this season. And they've kind of said, we'll just give it a good throw. I mean, they lost 8 games. But, I mean, 4 of the league games came in the space of about a fortnight under Wilfred Nancy. So,
see that Dundee United game? See the Dundee United game? I don't know about you. I don't know if you were there that day.
I was, aye.
I thought Celtic were done that day. I mean, honestly, I watched that game and I couldn't believe the lack of hunger, the lack of appetite. I couldn't believe players' body language. I know the pitch was obviously rubbish, but the quality of their play was so poor, lack of chance creation, all that kind of stuff. I came away from that thinking Celtic are out. I hadn't seen a Celtic performance like that, honestly, in a long time. If you take away the Nancy period, I thought they were finished. So that's why you've got to admire Martin O'Neill and what he's done there, and obviously the players, but like we're saying about Rangers getting themselves back in it. Honestly, I thought that day at Tannadice, Celtic were done, and for them to get back in it into this position, and I reckon they've got a right good chance now. Celtic, especially as I say, we might find a bit of form. I think they've done unbelievably well for that day at Tannadice to get into this position.
I think that day at Tannadice, seeing you looking back now in hindsight, did look as though they were done that day, but it was in the back of a period when we're guilty of it in the media. We built it up as a kind of a fortnight that was going to make or break Celtic's campaign. And a lot of us were thinking this will be that, having been hanging on for months, this will be the end of season show here. They had Stuttgart away in Europe, they had Rangers up away.
Those
Rangers
5 games, Mick, wasn't it?
And then they had Motherwell at Parkhead as well in that period. And they got through that period having beaten Stuttgart, having drawn with Rangers, having put Rangers at the Cup, and then beating Motherwell, and then beating Aberdeen at Pittodden as well. They get through that 5 games, and it was almost like, I think they'd done their tanking. And I think maybe they subconsciously thought, we've done the hard part, that run, this is going to be easier. They get to Tannadice, and the park's covered in sand. And it was, and they didn't have the energy. I think that was a bit of a slump, but they've reset since that. Like Scott said, they've reset and managed to kind of stretch their way through. And weirdly, actually, the last couple of performances have been a bit. I mean, the second half of the next time against St Mirren, and then Falkirk, and they seem to have picked up a wee bit more form. I don't think they're any great shakes still, and it's not perfect. And there's big gaping holes and certainly as a team, but they seem to be getting the job done. So I wouldn't be writing them off either. I take the point that you wouldn't be hanging your hat on them getting a result, but they have managed to get results.
Aye. I mean, in the comments, Chris says, Maida always scores at Easter Road. Just watch this space. Scott points out Rangers are won 4 in a row. Then last Sunday happened. John says, it doesn't matter what fans think or want. The players are professionals and will always play to win, but you allow them up as a big Rangers man. He says, Hibs will lie down, guaranteed. If Celtic do get the 3 point, if Hibs get the 3 points and then Hearts were to beat Rangers, you mentioned it, Mick, Hearts would then be 6 points clear with 9 to play for.
So
basically all over.
Hold on. Would you say this? If Hibs beat Celtic and Hearts beat Rangers, if Hibs beat Celtic and Hearts beat Rangers, you might as well get the open top bus ordered up in maroon colours. I think there's no. I think that's it. That'll be it done. They'll be done and dusted before they get to Parkhead in the last game of the season.
Well, even if Celtic beat Hibs, Mick.
I think she had Hibs beating Celtic.
Aye, sorry, that's what I meant. Aye, sorry, I thought you meant it. Aye, and
no, Celtic beat Hibs, then Hearts beat Rangers, and I think Rangers were. Yeah, Rangers are out of the. I think Rangers are snookered. Aye, Rangers were snookered because Hearts only need 7 points to win the league. They need 7 points and it's done.
Aye.
So I mean, another 3 points for Hearts on Monday night. They only need 4 points from the last 3 games. and I think they'll win against Falkirk, and then they can get a point against Motherwell, and that's it, done before the last game of the season.
Ryan Stevenson's column for tomorrow, Daniel. I mean, he obviously a big Hearts man. He reckons they only need 5 points to win the league. He think, is that right? 5 points? Should have said 5 points.
Yeah.
I don't know if he meant. Did he mean 5 points after Rangers?
5 points to be 78 points, wouldn't he?
78 could do it. Aye, 78 could do it.
He basically thinks if Hearts beat Rangers, they've won the title. No, he thinks this is a title winning game. And he reckons even if they were to drop points somewhere and it did go down to a shootout at Celtic Park in the last day and they needed a point or needed to win, then they would go and do it. Just such as the kind of togetherness they've got and the kind of spirit they've got there. He thinks it's just their destiny to go and win this title. But no, he thinks he's effectively said if Hearts winning Monday, irrespective of the Celtic Hibs result, he thinks Hearts will have one hand in the trophy, and he might be right.
He might be right, aye. Badger in the comments says this is turning into the F Sputs and Maybe show. It has, Badger, but I mean we're doing our best. Stick with us. The other couple of bits of Celtic news that I wanted to touch on: Martin O'Neill, manager of the month for April, 4 wins from 4, Scottish Cup final place secured, 12 goals scored, only 4 conceded. And report on Record Sport Online today that the mother of all rebuilds, Mick, has supposedly started. Oskar Wojciech is a Cracovia player that, according to reports from Poland, Celtic had a bid knocked back for in January that they're interested in again. And Zinedine Smolovic, he's a Sweden under-21 international player in Norway. He's apparently a centre-half that's high in demand. Apparently Celtic are in for him as well. Who is it? Who is it that's in for these people? Is it Martin O'Neill? Is it someone else? It seems a bit odd.
Well, listen, there's a certain profile of player that will be getting touted to a lot of clubs around Europe, and Celtic are in a certain bracket. And I've no doubt that certain emails will land on the Rangers list as well. I don't think certainly not big money moves are getting done right now until there's a manager on the door. But Celtic still have got people who are watching players and tracking talent. So there is guys that are getting monitored, and these are the kind of guys that do fit the profile.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they had better easier names to spell right enough.
I might have butchered those pronunciations.
I struggle enough as it is with having to do a countdown conundrum. But yeah, there is wheels turning. People think Celtic, this perception is that it's a complete wasteland. There's nobody left. It's like empty. It's like Chernobyl that week after the explosion. There's like nobody around anymore. It's not quite like that. There's still people doing their job and they're looking at players, identifying talent. Just don't have a manager or a chairman right now, or a director of football or a full permanent manager. There is some gaps and there's some empty desks, but there is people working behind the background.
The other wee bit of news before we move on to predictions for the weekend, you're loyal Muppet. Any news on the tickets? There's no news on the ticket story, is there? Nothing yet today?
Not today. I think it was expected it might be the day.
Aye,
there's been a bit of a delay, so hopefully tomorrow we'll find out for definite.
Okay, stay tuned to Record Sport for that. Right, last thing, guys, before we wrap up. We've talked around it, danced all around it all through the last half hour, but here's the fixtures for the weekend. Let's kick off with a big one, Hearts Rangers. How's it going to go?
Oh, I need to stick my guns. As I say, Andy asked me for a prediction today. I think it'll be a draw, Daniel, if I'm being honest. I think Hearts will do enough to get a point, so maybe one each. I say at the start, I don't think that does Rangers any good. Really, I think it's a better result for Hearts. I say to him, I wouldn't be surprised if Rangers won it. No, just produce something. Pull something out the bag. But Hearts have not been beat at Tynecastle all season. As I say, the noise there, the atmosphere, a tough game for Rangers. So I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be one each. How
do you think it'll go, Mick, at Tynecastle?
there's no point because these games are going to be the way this game, the way Rangers and Hearts and Celtic all play. Every single game is almost a coin toss because anything could happen at any minute. And I mean, literally, that's what's been always seen all season. There's no game, hardly any games been like a 3-0 win and somebody coasting. Not happening. So it could go either way. I think Rangers might go and win the game at Tynecastle. I think they might go and do it. And I think Celtic will win Easter Road. However, so I think Celtic will win at Easter Road, Rangers will win at Tynecastle, but I then think Rangers might then go and lose at Parkhead, and Celtic I think will lose at Fir Park at some point. So I think Hearts might lose this game, but still go and win the title.
Interesting.
That's where my mystic mix going these days. I think.
That's interesting. Actually, so you think Hearts could lose to Rangers but still win the title?
Yes. So I think Rangers win 3 out of 4 and get 79 points. I think Hearts win 3 out of 4 and end up with, 81? Or no, they've 78 going to Celtic Park, needing a draw.
Aye, going to need a draw.
I don't know. My head's busting the whole thing. I mean, we need a degree in astrophysics to work all this out now, don't we?
Aye. Well, look, I mean, we've kind of neglected the other fixtures just very quickly. Livingston, Aberdeen, Scott. Aberdeen seem a wee bit back on track. I think they'll get a result there.
I think it'll be tough, Daniel. I mean, they have got back on track to two kind of narrow wins at home, which have been brilliant for them, just steering them clear of that relegation playoff. But obviously, Livy, who looked dead and buried, and might still be, but that win at St Mirren last week gave them a wee bit of hope. So
first win since August.
I know, incredible. And look, they probably still need to go and win every game, so it's a big ask. But Marvin Bartley seems kind of in positive mood. That'll have done them the world of good, finally getting that win at St Mirren. So, I wouldn't rule Livingston out in that one.
Dundee, St Mirren, Mick. Who's going to win that?
St Mirren had a bit of a wobble, haven't they?
Aye.
But Dundee went got themselves horsed at the weekend up in the derby. So, score draw, I think. They're getting to the tension point, isn't it? There's so much to lose that I think that you might start seeing a few draws flying about as well.
Falkirk, Motherwell, Scott?
Well, Motherwell's on form team at the minute, aren't they? After their wee kind of sticky patch, they've kind of turned it around. Falkirk have had a tough spell. I know John McGlynn was pleased with the kind of response at Celtic Park. I thought they actually did play quite well at Celtic Park. But no, psychologically losing that semi-final to Dunfermline, that was after losing 6 goals against Rangers when they were 2 up. No, they've not got that much to play for now. Falkirk, they've kind of done the hard bit getting into the top 6. So I think Motherwell will go there and win.
Falkirk, Motherwell, the two of them have had their seasons pretty much done. It's the Magaluf derby.
Santa Ponza, definitely.
It's the BCM derby.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised at all, given how mad this season is. Like Motherwell last week, like Barcelona, if Falkirk beat them this weekend. Like, who knows? Honestly, it's that manic this season. It's so hard to predict. The last one there was Kelly Dundee United, and Kelly again struggling a wee bit. I think it's got a draw written all over it for what it's worth.
Kelly could do a win, couldn't he?
He could really do a win.
Like as well, but defensively pretty ropey. He could do a clean sheet and a win.
The very last thing, guys, I know I say that all the time, but McKenna's a big Hearts man. He says,
he's turning into Columbo every night on the show. Just one more thing.
One more. My wife loved you.
He said.
McKenna's a big Hearts when he says, "Thanks, Mick. You've just guaranteed us beating Rangers by predicting Rangers win." So
the worst tipster in Scottish football. Rambo's going to be celebrating tonight.
Aye. Well, look, that brings us to the end, I think, of Thursday night's Hotline Live, brought to you by NordVPN. Whatever happens, we'll be back on Sunday to cover all of the weekend's action. We'll be back after Hibs versus Celtic. I think we'll be doing it at an earlier time, I think around 3 o'clock. So we hope you can join us then. But for now, Scott, Mick, it's always an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, Dan.
No worries. Catch you later on. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Yeah, you guys have a good weekend as well. And thanks for watching at home. And hopefully see you Sunday. Cheers.